Hi, my name is Sage Goldenberg, and I am the owner of Beautifully Organized, a full service organizing company in your home, residential, and business, and the Moving Genie, which focuses on moving and downsizing. I've been a professional organizer for about 10 years after making a move from Kansas City to Toronto. And I just want to thank you so much for joining me today as we talk about habits. So, the reality is, we're all products of our habits, whether they're good habits, bad habits. The choice is yours, but you're going to see things play out day after day, and time after time in your life based on the habits that you've chosen to incorporate. One thing that is a theme through many areas of our life, but definitely when developing habits, is enthusiasm seems to be really common, but commitment is a bit more rare. So we might get really excited on day one, two, three. By day four, we're starting to fizz out. And by the end of that first week, whatever the new habit is more or less gone. So my goal is to teach you how to develop a habit and how to stick to that habit. So let's find out a little bit more about that. So BJ Fogg, who's the director of Behavior Design Lab, has talked a lot about this idea of having something so easy that you start with that you have no choice but for it to stick. So he says to make a habit like practice stick, you must make it small enough for it to be unfailingly consistent from the beginning. The goal at that point is not volume. The goal is to make the habit automatic. So think about something as simple as making your bed every morning. This is a great example, and there's tons of evidence to suggest that people who make their bed every day are more productive throughout the day, feel better about themselves, sleep better. Um, but it helps set the tone and allows you to start achieving task after task after task. So if you're struggling for a habit to start with or something to build on, try making your bed, because what we're trying to do here is to compound. So compounding small victories is one of the best ways to build habits. And if you start small, it gives you a lot of room to grow. But looking at this, one of the best examples would be a savings account. So if I said to you, you need to save an extra $1,000 this year, you'd probably think to yourself, I can't. Where would I find that money? But if you save $20 a week, by the end of the year, you'll have over $1,000. You'll have just at $1,040, not counting the interest. So compounding, if you think of it in terms of a savings account, is exactly what we're trying to do with your habits. We're trying to get one little small habit going, to get the motivation set, to get you in the groove of accomplishing different tasks and setting in different goals. One thing that would also be a great way for you to think through and to keep as a motivator as you're starting a goal and the enthusiasm starts to whittle down and isn't enough to keep it in check, would be writing a letter to your future self. Tell yourself how it feels to have this habit. How do you feel now that this is implemented and you're doing whatever it is you're trying to accomplish every morning, whether it's exercising or making your bed every day or having stronger relationships in your life or eating better. Whatever these habits are that you're trying to instill to ensure that your life is fuller and richer, really write about it in that letter, and that will keep you motivated. And tap into those motivation waves, because sometimes you're more in the mood to start something. So when you feel that, do that, because motivation is going to drive the habit and is going to keep you going, even when times are tough or even when there's a slip back. So the great Albert Einstein, compounding is one of the greatest mathematical discoveries of all time. It's very true, and that's true whether it's numbers or in the softer skills of our life. So habits go hand in hand with accountability. So what does accountability mean? It means having a clear goal and a willingness to let others help you achieve it. You do not have to do this on your own. In fact, you shouldn't be doing this on your own. Think about starting a group. If you want to read more, start a book club. Study more, study club. Hiking more, hiking group. think about what you want to accomplish and where you can find like minded people that can join you to help you accomplish these goals. Because according to the American Society of Training and Development, we're 65% more likely to accomplish a goal when there's someone else that is dedicated to it with us. They're checking in on us. How's it going? What have you accomplished? And if you know that they're going to be asking you these questions, you want to make sure that you're giving them some good feedback. You don't want to go, I didn't really do anything. Yeah, I didn't really do that goal. That doesn't feel good. So having someone check in on you and being able to give them positive feedback is a great way to keep you motivated as well. So, with all of that said, consistency is key when developing a new habit. I don't know anyone that has mastered anything without practice and without the ups and downs and all of it, because it takes time to master a habit. I've heard 30 days, I've heard 66 days. Um, However many days it is, it's consistent. And even beyond those days, there will be times when maybe you don't feel like getting up and exercising, but the truth of the matter is you do it anyway because you know how good it makes you feel after. And that's when you know that you've mastered a habit. Because knowing what to do and committing to it are two different things. This goes back to the enthusiasm versus actually following through. You may know what to do. With organizing in the world that I'm in, people know what to do and how to organize. They just don't want to. They don't want to take the time. They don't want to make the mess that they then have to clean up, whatever the reason may be. And they're all valid reasons. There's a big difference between knowing what to do and committing to doing that. And also knowing with consistency, I'm not talking about every single time and don't you dare ever not do it. It's knowing that what you do most of the time matters more than what you do some of the time. So it's that idea of kind of a cheat day. If you eat really well 6 days during the week, you have one day where you can kind of do whatever you want to do, because most of the time what you're doing is really great. And some of the times you're allowing yourself these special treats. So you just have to focus on advancing that habit and knowing there will be setbacks, knowing there will be times that you're not doing things 100% the way you should be doing them, but knowing that that's okay, and then getting back up and keeping on track and using those setbacks as lessons along the way. For me, one of the best ways to establish a new habit is not breaking the chain. So this idea that I'm somehow tracking my progress on a habit, whether it's through an app like Done, or whether it's just on a piece of paper, or whether it's some other integration in an app that I'm working with. If I can see that I'm doing something on a consistent basis and it's somehow charting that for me, that is such a great way for me to be able to keep up with my habits, because breaking that chain is not something that I want to do. So, thinking about integrating all of these habits together, you have a small behavior change that couples up with accountability and consistency. You've got a solid goal. There's no way that these small behaviors and these changes that you're doing and compounding these small wins are not going to equal up to some kind of great habit and formation that you've created into your life. If you're having a hard time, if you're, say for instance, one of your goals is to read more and you say, gosh, I'd like to do it, but I'm reading before bed, but it's still not enough. Think about coupling up habits to make it even more effective. So if you've already got a solid walking routine, where you're walking outside once a day, put in your headphones and listen to an audiobook. So now you're processing a book, you're reading this book, you've got this great entertainment and your walk. And so now you've got two really strong habits that you've coupled together, and you're building on that, you're compounding. You have to know there are no quick fixes. I'm sorry to say, it takes the hard work. It takes setting the small goal, following through on it, having the accountability, compounding when you have your wins. But I promise, if you strive to get 1% better every day, I know the change isn't as exciting as a big transformation, a big 180, but it's stronger, it's more stable, and you're more likely to stick to your new habits. The results won't happen overnight, but the goal the goal is so worth it. It's so worth the effort to create these solid habits in your life. In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg, I believe, discusses habits and the process that our brain goes through when we're developing a new habit. So he explains that there's a cue, so a trigger that's talking to our brain to go into some kind of automatic mode, which is the habit that we use. So this is our routine. It can be physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional. And then that takes us to the reward, which helps our brain figure out if this particular loop is worth remembering for the future. This loop becomes more and more automatic, and that's the reward. The reward is what helps your brain figure out if this loop is worth remembering for the future. The idea is that the cue and the reward become intertwined, and that's the powerful habit. So with exercise as an example, for me, I wake up in the morning, I know right away I need to work out. And my cue is when my feet hit the floor and I get downstairs, I know that's what I do right away. And the reward for me is what I feel after. I feel amazing. I know my day is going to be great. I'm in a better mood. I feel good about myself. So that cue and that reward are hooked up right away. So find meaningful ways to reward your good behavior. These might be external rewards or sharing good news, letting others know that you've accomplished something, or this could be reading that letter that we talked about, this future self. Now you are that future self. Read it. How does that feel? You accomplished that. That's amazing. And you should feel so proud. So I just want to say thank you so much for listening in today. And to make sure that you're up to date on all of the latest live events and other happenings with Beautifully Organized, or some tips and tricks, head over to our website at beautifulyorganized.ca and make sure that you subscribe. And if you'd like to reach out, we always offer free phone consultations. So if you're trying to start a project or feeling stuck, make sure that you reach out. We'd love to talk to you.